is ACI with a video tutorial on how to utilize our ROES books to order your Riveli album. First, you'll have to make sure to launch the ROES ordering software. Make sure you are logged in on the right, and then we can click on Riveli albums or click on Start Ordering at the top, and then navigate to Riveli albums in the upper left-hand drop-down. Once we get there, it should bring us to that Riveli info page. Once you click on that, it'll pretty much just let you everything you need to know in how to order your album. So the first thing you'll want to do is select your cover. Second thing, select your paper type. And then 3, any add-ons. So all of the covers are listed under here. If you're on a PC, you'll be able to see a full listing. Otherwise, if you're on a Mac, you should be able to see a little arrow to the right and navigate to any specific cover you are wanting. So the one I'm wanting to get is a full image wrap. I do want a photographic wrap on this one. We do offer it in a canvas photographic wrap. Next one down, we'll want to specify if it's thick pages or thin pages. And then lastly, we'll want to specify the size of album we're getting. So for me, I wanted the 8x8, so I navigated to an 8x8. Keep in mind with our photographic or full image wrap covers, there is a specific tiers of covers you have to select depending on your spread count. So make sure to select the proper cover for the amount of spreads you have. If you start building on one with the improper amount of spreads, you will have to start over. Since for the purpose of this video, I'm just duplicating the same spread over, I'm just going to do the smallest one. And once we click on it, we'll see that it opened up here in the middle. So right now this looks a bit funky, but this is the front portion of our cover. So this is my test cover image here. So I'm going to click and drag that up. You'll see that the right portion of my image here in the thumbnail is kind of towards the right. As we click these buttons on the pretty much below the template, this pretty much flips us to the next portion of the page, and this one goes back. So if I actually click on the back one, it'll open it up. It'll open up that cover so you can see it from left to right if you were to hold an album open, essentially. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the right arrow to bring us just to the front portion of that cover, and then to our lead sheet. So you can build your lead sheets one of 2 ways. You can have it as a standard texturized sheet, which is very common, or we do recommend you build a photographic lead sheet. So those are always up here. They're kind of nestled under the multiple page button or multiple sheet button. Anything that pops up at this top portion, you will have to click and drag down in order to use it. So I did drag this down, and you see that there are nodes that I'm able to utilize. In these little ones, I'm able to maybe drop in a logo if I wanted a logo. I can fill this with another spread if I wanted to. Right now it's set at half spread, so if I wanted one side to be on one side, and then we could move this around if I wanted to. We probably don't want it to look like that, so we'll change it to full spreads. That way I can utilize this lead sheet as if it were a full spread. If you read below the actual product name, it says that this is a free spread for you. We do not charge you for the lead sheet, so that is why we recommend you utilize the lead sheet as a spread. So I'm going to go ahead and leave the photographic lead sheet as a full spread, and then hit next. It'll bring us to our first full page or full spread. So I'm going to go ahead and just drag in my spread. You can see on the right hand side that I'm able to adjust what kind of paper type I'm wanting, any kind of texture, UV coating, so on and so forth. I'm going to go ahead and select silk paper here. Obviously, once we select one of these, it applies to the overall book. It is not going to be per spread. We are also able to drag down any kind of templates that we have with specified nodes so you can design within the ROES ordering software. For the purpose of this video, I'm just going to drag in pre-designed spreads I've made in Photoshop. So remember that we selected 5 to 10 spreads. As we get to the 5th spread on this one, we'll notice that we will get to a standard textured sheet. So if we click on this button right below that layered pages or layered sheets button, we'll see a full view of all the spreads that we have. So this is a good way of keeping an eye on what you've dragged up. You can always rearrange these up here. Let's say if you put something in the wrong area, you can rearrange it there. To go back to our options of spreads and lead sheets, we'll just have to click on the layered sheet again. And then remember at the beginning we created a photographic lead sheet. We want to make sure that is consistent from beginning to the end. So we have our photographic lead sheet up here at the top. We want to click and then drag. So I want to utilize this as a full spread, so I want to make sure to switch this over to full spreads and drag my full spread into it. And then if we click on the next button, we'll notice that we are at the back portion of our cover. So we are done building this. Going back to the last spread of this design, so not on the lead sheet, but the last spread. This is the 5th full spread on this cover. Keep in mind this cover can hold 5 to 10 spreads. So let's say I want 6 spreads. This button right next to the turn page or flip to the next page button is actually an add a page button. So if I click this, it'll bring us to a clean blank template where we can add another spread. So there are options on the right hand side for all the pages. There are also options for your cover. So you can adjust lamination, padding, change the material for the cover itself if it's regular or metallic, depending on if you selected a photographic wrap, and then other add-on options as normal. So I'm roughly done building this album. So once I'm done and satisfied with what I've selected, obviously what you select is going to be more in depth. We'll want to make sure to click on Add to Order. Since there are text nodes that I didn't type in, it's going to tell me that there are text nodes I didn't edit or adjust to my preferences. I do not want those text nodes to have anything in there, so as long as I didn't type anything in them, it is perfectly fine. They will not print anything in those text nodes. So I'm going to go ahead and say Add as is. So once that is done, we'll see that our view card area has changed to items of 1. Once we click on that, we'll be able to see thumbnails of all of our spreads and then our cover at the top, all the options we've selected. Keep in mind, I didn't adjust any text nodes on here. It will always say the text nodes, but it was not anything I adjusted. So if you see that in your cart, do not worry, it is not going to print on the spread. On the right hand side, we have our standard area of special instructions. We can type in any special instructions if there's anything that the lab needs to know. Be sure to fill in your reference text so you are able to call in with any questions and you're able to tell us a specific name of your order. That way we can locate it in case you don't have an order number. So I'm going to say test Riveli ROES album. And then we want to make sure to initial and then complete and send order. Of course, we want to hit complete and send order after we've reviewed all of the options that we've selected. So as long as you're confident in what you've ordered, go ahead and proceed and send the order. If you do have any questions or concerns, definitely reach out to our customer service team at 1-800-728-2722.